One of these brand new microphone bits. Oh, state of the art. It's still in its original box. I hate talking into those things, so, you know. Back again onto Gibraltar here. As I was saying, it's 2.5 square miles and it's about 250 million years old, give or take a million. There's about 30,000 inhabitants in Gibraltar, or locals, and we all descend from Genoese, Italian, English, Spanish and some Maltese. However, I honestly don't know how my family ended up here. We come from Switzerland. So they must have taken a wrong turning somewhere along the line and ended up here. But I'm very proud to say that we are living in Gibraltar over 230 years. At least my family is, so, you know, that's a feat in itself. Gibraltar is a mini country. We have got our own parliament, we have our own currency, our own radio station, our own TV station, and this is virtually it, you know. Our main income for Gibraltar comes from tourism, the finance centre. We're very well regulated by the EU, so it's not like a mini Cayman's Island. It isn't, you know. It's very well regulated. These are the original fortification walls of the city of Gibraltar. These were built by the British during the 1700s, and they go from the north side of town right down to the south end. Now everywhere you see an embrasure here at the top, that means that there was a cannon placed there. There were 254 cannons lining the front here. The sea actually used to lap against these walls even up to the very early 1900s, 1901, 1902. It was only during 1990 that a Dutch company came to Gibraltar, and we reclaimed from the sea 25 acres of land where those buildings you see back there, that estate, the housing estate, was built there. Now just before we come to, or just by the traffic lights, if you care to look up, you will see a couple of cannons there. These cannons are original cannons dating back to the very early 18th century. Don't worry, I'll slow down so you can have a look. Anything and everything you see to the right hand side from these walls, all this over here, this was reclaimed from the sea. Now it must have taken the right brainwave to have named this road Reclamation Road, eh? However, in 1954, when Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II came to Gibraltar on her first and only visit, this was then renamed Queensway in her honour. So I just wonder if instead of the Queen we would have brought Frank Sinatra over, if we would have ended up calling this My Way. Now the building you see right there in front of us, and to our left as we go past now, this is called King's Bastion. Very important to the defence of Gibraltar, because during the 1700s, 1773 actually, this was built, and it served very important towards the latter part of the 1700s and all during the 1800s for the defence. Let me put it to you another way. All this here was sea before. 4 years ago, those blocks of flats you see there weren't there. That was sea before, 4 years ago. So coming back to the defence of Gibraltar, any ship that came into the Bay of Gibraltar, which I'll show you a bit later on in the tour, and started shooting at the garrison here, really didn't stand much of a chance to get away, because of the 254 cannons that used to line the walls. They were very easily picked out. We come to a younger battery now here, dating back to the mid-1800s, Wellington Front. This is broken into three pieces. The right bastion, the middle bastion, and the left bastion just by those traffic lights there. During the mid-1800s, the British Army had the barracks behind the center portion here. Now to our right hand side now, we have got one of 3 marinas Gibraltar boasts. This was the original one, called the Waterfront Marina. The other 2 are on the north side of town, called Marina Bay and Ocean Village Marina. As you can see here, the walls still carry on, as I said before, right down to the south end of Gibraltar. And I will show you where they finish first, and then towards the end of the tour I'll show you where they start, because we're going southwards now. Now these gates you see here, Ragged Staff gates, date back to 1736. There used to be a Victuallian's yard out here for loading and unloading, and these gates used to be closed every evening at sundown and opened every morning at sunup. This building you see to our left hand side is an original gunpowder storage room, la polvorera, era eso, dating back to the very early 1700s.
Al polvorín.
Polvorín.
La polvorera es
La polvorera, ¿no? Polvorín.
para armas.
To our right hand side, just on over there where you see those trees, that is Trafalgar Cemetery, Cementerio de Trafalgar. However, not very many people are aware that only 2 sailors that physically fought in the Battle of Trafalgar are buried there. There are other people buried, but nothing to do with the Battle of Trafalgar. You would have thought that with a name like Trafalgar Cemetery, there would have been more people buried there. Over there we will see the cable car and also the botanical gardens, which I'll show you a bird's eye view once we go up the rock. The ex-Ministry of Defence dockyard. I say ex-Ministry of Defence because really that's what it is. The Ministry of Defence virtually has no say in the daily runnings of this. There's a company called Serco that has that pleasure now. Now this little walkabout you see here is called Jumper's Walkabout and Jumper's Bastion, right on our right hand side, aptly named after Captain Jumper, William Jumper, who was the first British officer to set foot on Gibraltar just there in 1704. All this area around here is called Jumpers. As I said, Jumper's Bastion, Jumper's Walk, Jumper's Building, Jumper's Road going up. Still part of the ex-Ministry of Defence dockyard there, which was built by the British in 1890. And at the very end there, where you see those cranes at the top there, we have 3 dry docks as well. Gibraltar has a natural harbour there. It's a natural deep water harbour actually. Little Joe. This is what we call Little Joe here. These are the 3 dry docks, which again you will see better once we go up the rock, so you can have a look. Don't worry, I will stop. Remember I was talking about the original fortification walls? Well, these walls here are still the original ones, and they stop well, they come to an end just by this little bus stop here. This is where they end. This area from here southwards is called Sunnyside, because irrespective of whatever you know, weather we have here in Gibraltar, this is always sunny. To our right hand side we have the neighbourhood of Magdala Battery, dating to 1884, and I'm just going to try and get my if you care to look back on yourselves at the very top there, you will see a massive, or the back end of a cannon. Can you see that? Yeah. That cannon weighs 100 tons. Eso es parte del Ministerio de